Do you ever wonder why people talk about changing their lives but never actually do it? Let's break down some of the reasons why and how you can avoid making the same mistakes. So the first one is comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, it's going to hugely limit what you can actually achieve, because everything in your comfort zone is designed around keeping you on the same trajectory. If you do the same thing every day, if you see the same people every day, it's going to be really rare where you're going to discover opportunities to actually change anything in your life. You know, sometimes things happen, sometimes luck will happen, and maybe someone will come into the office and they'll be like this guy who you speak to and you get on with and they give you an opportunity. But those opportunities are way reduced because you're just doing the same thing, not really doing anything different. So obviously the takeaway from this point is do things out of your comfort zone. If you have a friend who suggests something and you're like, oh, you don't really want to do it, just say yes. Just say yes to these things that seem so hard for you now, because when you do it, it really won't be that hard. Trust me. I've done things outside of my comfort zone. I've done dance classes. I can't dance. Amazing experience. I used to be really introverted, and then I just started socializing all the time, and now socializing is easy to me. Stuff like that. Just embrace those opportunities that put you in a different situation that you're not normally in. The second one is waiting for the perfect time. There's never a perfect time. You know, saying like use investment, for example, people want to time the market, and the research has shown time in the market beats timing the market. If you just start, if you just put the money in, over time, it's going to compound, it's going to grow. The same thing with your life. You just need to start that idea that you have in your head. Just start figuring out how you're going to conceptualize it, how you're going to plan it, what you're going to need, and just start doing it, because without that, you're just going to keep using that excuse. Third, fear of failure. A lot of people don't want to try something because maybe they'll be judged, maybe they'll worry what others think, maybe they'll think like their parents will be saying like, that's crazy, like why are you doing this thing, why are you taking this risk when you can just go down the same path? Do you want the same path as your parents? Do you want the same path as your friends? If you do, keep listening to their advice, keep listening to their judgment, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You need to think, what do I want to do? And not be afraid to fail, because failing is part of it. You're obviously going to fail. There's going to be mistakes, but if you didn't even try, then it's way worse. It's way worse than failure. So fourth is having a lack of a clear vision on what you want to achieve. So at the moment, I'm speaking to a lot of people about like a 90-day goal, and having this 90-day goal, breaking down what this character looks like in 90 days to achieve this thing that you want to achieve. If it's fitness related, if it's socializing related, if it's relationships related, if it's finance related, you need to figure out this goal, break it down into weekly and daily actions that you can achieve every day, and then work back from there. And if you want to talk to me about the same thing, just book a call in my calendar below and I can talk to you about it as well, because that's the key start. The key start is understanding what you want to achieve, because without a clear goal, it's going to be really hard to achieve anything. So the fifth one, something I talk about in most of my videos, is not taking responsibility. Just make sure you take responsibility for stuff that happens. Don't blame others, because when you take responsibility, you control the full outcome of what you're going to achieve. So just make sure you catch yourself when you're blaming and figure out what you could have done differently in that scenario to make it so you're not blaming someone else, you're just doing things better yourself. Another one, 6, trying to change everything at the same time, trying to elevate all of the things in your life at the same time. That can really come across as a struggle because it's just super overwhelming and you'll get burnt out and you'll get stressed. So focus on one thing, plan that 90-day goal, and throughout that goal, you'll basically pick up these traits that will help with other parts, right? So say you want to achieve, losing 15 kilograms in 90 days. So you think of this goal and you break it down on what you need to do, and say you need to walk 10,000 steps. That's going to give you a new habit of every day that you're achieving something, and you're finding that easy to do this thing every day. And then maybe you also want to save more money, but then you can implement this newfound habit to finance, which would be like paying yourself first, putting some money into investments first, making a savings account that's designed around your next year dream life, and then inputting that and just doing that as a habit, and it will become simple. So the things will flow onto each other, but just focus on one goal at a time and what you want to achieve, because it can be done in as short time as 90 days. So you might as well just do one thing. And then once you're super confident and you're this new character that's achieved this new 90-day outcome, you're going to be able to flow that onto other things. The last one, number 7, is ignoring mindset. Mindset is everything when it comes to these things. That's why I'm talking about it so much, because it really interests me in the psychology of mindset, because what you start in your mind is what you're going to have in your physical body, right? So if you decide in your mind that you're going to be a healthier person, you're going to be doing 10,000 steps. I know I always use as an example, it's just like an easy example to use. If you do that every day, then eventually your body's going to catch up. You're going to start doing it. Your mind is like, yep, this is something I do every day. I do these 10,000 steps. Your body, in 3 months, you're going to lose a bunch of fat. You're going to be way healthier. You're going to be able to walk around easier, because the physical is just a representation of how your mind works. I'll use another example, You want to, start making your first dollar online, right? So then you design, you figure out exactly how you're going to achieve that, what your strengths are, what your skills are. And then you break that all down into the daily and the weekly and the monthly goals. And then you just start doing these things that the person in 90 days who's making that $1 online is. And you go back and eventually it will catch up. And then you'll be that person. But without the mindset, without the belief, without all of this stuff, then you're going to stay back in the same person who doesn't believe that they can achieve the thing. You've got to replace your limiting beliefs with positive beliefs, with empowering beliefs, because, if you see this outcome for your life, say you don't like working a 9 to 5, but you think that you have to work the 9 to 5 to pay the bills, and that's going to be the reality. You're just going to keep working the 9 to 5 because you think that is how it works, and you think that that's the only option. You don't think you could just be an Instagram influencer and make a bunch of money because you're like, oh, there's too much competition, this is not possible. Then yeah, it won't be possible for you. Without the belief, without the conviction in the first place, it's not going to be possible. That's just how mindset works. Mindset goes back to everything. It goes back to stress. It goes back to everything. That's why I'm learning and I'm trying to teach what I know about mindset, because with a solid mindset, it can change everything in your life. So I want to give you guys some key things to take away today. So I'd like you to set a small specific goal and commit to achieving that goal this week. So set a goal this week and think back to every day what you need to do to achieve that goal, and do the actions every day and see if you achieve it in the week. See if doing these actions actually result in that happening. And yeah, also start reflecting on your mindset in a simple way, where if you catch limiting beliefs or blaming others, catch those things, write them down, and try and figure out what you could have done to flip the switch and to be like, okay, if I did this differently, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And just catch those things, make sure you're recording them in your mind, because when you start understanding maybe all these things that you blame, you might start to understand why you're struggling with things. So if you've got this far, just drop a comment down below. Say what you've wanted to change for a long time that you haven't yet, and why you think that is. And as I said earlier in the video, if you do want to speak to me one-on-one about anything mindset related, feel free to book a call below and we can just discuss what you're trying to achieve. I'd really like to speak to you guys, so feel free to do that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.